fire away with questions at Coach White.
Mike, can you just talk about the opportunity you guys have? Top 25 Alabama coming to Stegman. Just what sort of stands out in this?
Yeah, exciting opportunity. The Steg ought to be rocking. We're fired up to tip it up. Got to have great practice today. Alabama's obviously really, really good, and they've been good for quite some time. Good defensively, elite offensively. Great opportunity.
We obviously this is a very resilient team. You've used that term so many times to describe this team, but are we at the point, from the standpoint of the season that I mean, you've said before it's not good enough. You're not moral victories. You got to get across the line. How are you doing that? How are you trying to press that?
Just learn from each game. Win or lose. Obviously, let an opportunity that we had a chance to capitalize on late in Gainesville get away a little bit. That said, though, with 10 minutes left in the game, no one would have thought our guys would have put themselves in a position to do that. So, and Florida's very good. They're a tournament team. We've got a bunch of opportunities ahead of us. We've got to continue to work toward improvement, both offensively and defensively. Stay together, stay connected, and trust that the results will take care of themselves.
After watching the tape of that Florida game, just what were your takeaways from the defensive performance and what have been the focuses the past couple of days to get things turned around for an Alabama team, like you said, that's elite?
We really struggled defensively. 2 of the last 3 versus Florida, at Florida, at Kentucky. Some of it's transition, some of it's defensive rebounding, some of it's just interior physicality. We've got some stuff. We regressed a little bit here recently as we've taken some steps forward offensively. We've made a big jump in the past month offensively. We've got to get back to improvements defensively without the regression offensively now.
What stands out to you about Alabama in transition, just the way they're able to get it down the floor?
They're fast and they're athletic, and a lot of teams in our league are, but their willingness to share it, to space it and spread it out and keep the ball moving. Their skill level, of course, they're a really skilled team. They can play a couple different ways, but they've got certain lineups where they're as skilled as anyone in our league. And Sears is having as good a year probably with Connect as, and I'm probably leaving somebody out, but I mean, he's having a phenomenal season, both offensively and defensively. He does a lot of things for those guys. Passing and scoring, obviously, his percentages, his assist-to-turnover ratio, his screening, and he's one of the best defensive guards in our league, too, in my opinion.
How is Justin Hill? What is his availability for this game?
I don't know. He won't go today. We've got. He didn't go yesterday. We've actually fight some illness too. We had a few guys that didn't go yesterday. We'll be down a few today. Hopefully, get closer to full strength tomorrow. We'll see. But opportunities for other guys.
Does that put a little bit more pressure on Silas if he can't go?
Yeah, Silas is battling some stuff too. But it's it's that time of year and it's going around, and whoever's available will be ready to tip it up and compete.
Look at the way RJ played on Saturday. Just what sort of progression have you seen from him over the course of his first year here?
Really settled in offensively, as confident as he played. We were playing small ball, of course, and he had good matchups at times when he was in space. First couple fell for him, or those 2 that did fall for him, I think led to again a gain in confidence level from 3. He's attacked the basket and drawn fouls, and been active, and been a really competitive defender for us all year. But obviously, his 3-point numbers, haven't been where we all expected them to be, including himself, because he's shot it well in practice. And I think those law of averages are kicking in a little bit for him.
When you look at this matchup just defensively, what are the things you want to see strides in compared to these last few games?
Transition, urgency, blockouts, hits, defensive rebounds, just finishing possessions. And then we've got to guard the 3 at a really high level, of course, against a team that's as efficient from that area as anybody in the country.
Yeah, it's easy to say defending the 3-point, like, how hard is it to defend a 3-point line, especially when you have a team like this that
well, it's really hard. If they're one-dimensional, it's easier, you know. But when your young men are being told they can't shoot threes, we've got to run them off, or we've got to make them bounce, or whatever terminology each staff uses, throughout our league. But they've also got an ability to attack off the bounce and then draw another defender and kick it for another three, or that guy attacks and close out, and they've got guys that can get to the rim and score layups. It puts a lot of pressure on the defense. It starts with their ability to really space you, shoot threes from multiple positions. They offensive rebounded too as well, which leads to long rebounds, which leads to more dagger threes off offensive rebounds. So they're a handful. They've played a really, really tough schedule. So that they're better than their record indicates. They're obviously a tournament team that can make a run.
What sort of impact have you seen from the home crowd this season, and just how the players have been able to feed off of them?
Our guys are, I think, proud of what, the couple steps that we've taken in terms of trying to rebuild this thing, and they're appreciative to our fans and the numbers that have come out, and the volume in our building. Our last home game was rocking. The Tennessee game was at a level that I've never heard it, in the Steg before, and I've said that a few times, and we need that moving forward. We need a few more of those to give ourselves a chance.
Coach, you've got Kenny Gaines and Charles Mann on staff who are part of that last tournament team here
Yep.
in Georgia. How does their experience kind of help you build to eventually getting back to the tournament?
Their relationships with the players are strong. They've had opportunities to discuss, some of their past experiences here, and they're supportive of us too as a staff, and they get a lot of work done, around the office, and they're helpful in practice, and they're good models, for our guys to make, to reference, for our staff to reference to our guys. These guys, they've gotten it done before. Ask them, ask them how they did it, and ask them how, their experiences can relate to your experiences. So they're always there for our guys.
I spoke with them earlier, and they were saying that one of the biggest things that they saw that was similar was the camaraderie just between the team. How do you feel about this team, and is there a lot of camaraderie between all these guys as a group?
High level. Our guys really like each other, and the challenge really for a bunch of guys that enjoy each other's company on the court and off the court as much as our guys do is to check each other at times. As we're going through adversities in Gainesville, and Florida goes on a 5-0 run and the whistle blows. What are we doing at that point? From a culture standpoint, are we coming together? Are we correcting things? Are we calling each other out in a healthy manner? Are we able to coach each other? And we've had a lot of positives in that area, and then we've had some, obviously, when you're facing some adversities where it leaves a little bit to be desired. And so I think for all teams in our sport, until the ball stops bouncing for that particular team, you're fighting for your culture every day, and you're fighting for your guys to be as connected as possible.
You mentioned defensive rebounds earlier. Have you guys ever ran too big to practice something you'd ever done during a game?
Yeah, and we've actually played some minutes this year that way. We've actually started some lineups that way. Weren't as good offensively, trial and error throughout a season. There's some positives to doing it, and there's some negatives to doing it. Really, however you tweak your rotation or your starting lineup.
What's kind of on that note, RJ Sunahara has started a lot of games in a row, but he doesn't play a lot of minutes. Just what's your philosophy there regarding him specifically and your substitution pattern?
Yeah, sure. RJ stands for a lot of stuff that we want to stand for as a program. Has great practices every day. Earned the right to start way back when, and it was in the middle of a winning streak for us, and we were playing well, and it's not broken. Why fix it? But moving forward, we just faced a little adversity the other day, and So we'll continue to reevaluate who we're starting and who we're playing.
Coach, Alabama has a similar pace of play to Florida. What are you taking from that performance last week?
We played well offensively. You score 98 on the road in this league. You've done some good things, but you can't give up that many. And Alabama's even better offensively. So a lot of things that we talked about a little bit earlier. Our transition has got to be on point. Our urgency, our level of communication, our attention to detail with, again, defending the three and blocking out and all those things. We've got to play one of our best games, if not our best game, to beat these guys.
Coach White.
Go ahead.
Sir.
No, go ahead.
All right. I was going to say, in a previous interview, you described Blue Kane as a level-headed player.
Yeah.
And with all of his development, how have you seen his role change throughout the course of the season?
He continues to gain confidence. He's become a better defender. He's always been a very capable defender, an underrated defender. He's got. I've talked about it previously. He's got quiet toughness and quiet confidence. He's very competitive. I think he's embraced defending, understanding the importance of it at this level more so than last summer when it's the typical progression that freshmen need to make, as opposed to the offensive side, which is a lot easier for younger guys to embrace and be excited about. So he continues to improve, and he's going to be a really good player.
Any other questions, Coach?
Coach, recently you mentioned the fans and their impact, and UJ did move the student section courtside on the floor. How big of an impact does the student section have just in general in games, and how big of an impact do you think they'll have against the game for Alabama?
I think they'll be a big factor in what we're doing against Alabama and really against everyone moving forward. I'm really appreciative to, again, all of our fan base that have attended games in the past that may be sitting in a different seat, and I'm appreciative to our administration for making the change. Again, I've said it a few times, and I'll continue to say it. The game against Tennessee, I've been in the Steg for a long time. I've had an opportunity to compete in there many times, and that's as loud as I've ever heard it. It was really loud again the other day, and so it's a big factor in our success, and it really just puts us on par with the rest of our league, right? If it's full and it's really loud, you're just on par because the other 13 are the same way in our league. Just great arenas, great fan bases, and home court advantages throughout.
Any
You
questions?
good?
Thank you.
Wait, sorry, one more. Is ball distribution a key concern heading into Alabama, or are you going to kind of let the guards facilitate the offense themselves?
It all starts, for the most part, with our guards on a lot of possessions. Sometimes we'll play through our bigs. Russell Chua is actually coming off pretty consistently as of late, some good performances, so we'll play through him sometimes at the elbows and at the blocks. But our guards against another really good defense, are going to have to play well. We're making shots, making good decisions with orchestrating what we're doing, our assist turnover ratio, getting guys shots, getting guys in the right spots. Yeah, so it's our guards are a focal point of what we do, of course.
Thanks, Coach.